Hey everyone, I'm going to assume that you've just come from the VCP2 results video. If you haven't though, I'll go ahead and explain what this video is. This video is a discussion, I guess you could call it, as to why my Skyrim and Dawn of War 2 walkthroughs are not going to be your normal average walkthroughs. And I'm going to explain why that is here in a second. First though, in case I forgot to mention it in the previous video, in the results video, but if you noticed, haven't noticed yet, the audio might sound a bit different. That's because I'm recording it on a new microphone. It's a Blue Snowball. And I just got it because my old Logitech headphone microphone was good for what it was for, but I was looking for something that was a little bit more high quality, as far as the quality of the commentary audio was concerned. So that's why I got this. But I want you to just listen for a second, because I was going to do this on the last video, but I forgot. Just listen for a second to the background. That sound you hear in the background is not a jet going over my house. It's my friggin' computer. I'm very anti-noise when it comes to computer builds, so my computers make a hell of a lot of noise. This is actually way quieter than my previous computer was. My last computer was just, it sounded like there was a train going through this room. It was so loud. So let's get on to the debate as to why my walkthroughs won't be, just average walkthroughs. We'll start with Skyrim, because that'll be the quicker one, I think. There are a few reasons why my Skyrim walkthrough is not going to be like any other walkthrough on YouTube. The main thing is that there's going to be a crap ton of mods installed in my Skyrim as I'm doing the walkthrough for it. When I started the walkthrough back in, I think, December of last year, I had, I think, either between 60 or 86 mods, somewhere in between there, installed at that time. Since then, I've added more, and I have 126 or 5 mods installed. That's not going to and I'm not going to stop adding mods. I'm going to keep on adding them as I find really cool stuff. I also have a lot of mods I have not installed yet because I'm worried about conflicts or conflicts with other mods, or conflicts with quests in the game. I don't have to keep on reloading old saves, autosaves, trying to figure out if a quest is bugged or not, or trying to figure out how to get it unbugged with all these mods installed, because it just is a real nightmare. Even just dealing with a couple of mods, just 60 or 80 mods, was really hard, really difficult. Try twice that many. It's going to be insane trying to figure out which mods are causing the problem. So I'm going to leave out some of the mods for now, and add them in after most of the main quest stuff is done. The other thing that's going to be different about my mod is that, or my walkthrough, is that it's going to have probably more graphic detail than other ones, and that's because I'll be recording it with I'll be recording Skyrim with Skyrim. Yes, I'll be recording the game with itself. Now I'll be recording it with PlayClaw. I don't recommend you use PlayClaw for everyday recording. It's a pretty crappy program made by people who know how to develop, in quotations, but don't know the right way to do stuff. For an example of what I mean by that is that PlayClaw 4, the current version, has a huge bug in it. It's been in there since PlayClaw 3, actually. The bug is that once you reach a certain file size, and it's different for everyone, but for me it's 126 gigabytes. The program will crash with a general fault and take down whatever program you're recording with it. So, and they've known about this for probably, I think, about a year, maybe a little over a year now. They have not fixed it yet, and apparently they don't think it's a problem, or they're using their excuse. It's not, they're making PlayClaw 5 to get rid of that problem. The problem with that is that they said that in PlayClaw 2 to get rid of the issue recording loading screens. To their credit, they did fix it, but then in PlayClaw 3, they said they were making PlayClaw 4 to get rid of the audio synchronization issues in PlayClaw. that existed in PlayClaw 3, but in PlayClaw 4, there's still huge audio issues. You know, it's really easy to get audio that's not in sync if you're not using the right settings. Certain settings break PlayClaw, and it's ridiculous. Or more recently, PlayClaw no longer will hook into the desktop Windows Manager unless I restart my computer after a while, after it's been active a while. There's just so many things wrong with PlayClaw, and their excuses are so ridiculous that I don't recommend it at all for anyone who is doing, you know, regular commentating or recording of games. I do recommend it for recording games and doing commentary for games where you need to have the extra power for that game. For example, with Fraps, it's a real CPU hog. PlayClaw isn't. And so, tying that into why it matters for Skyrim, my Skyrim walkthrough, I'll be able to have more stuff on the screen and not have as large a drop in FPS as I would have with Fraps. Right now, I'm sitting at just changing the grass slider around a bit, the grass density slider around. I'm sitting at about the same performance I was getting out of PlayClaw with about twice as much grass being rendered into the world. Before I had it set at 80, and the higher the number, the less grass there is, and now I have it at 48, so it's almost twice as much. At about the same frame rate as when I had 80 with Fraps. So, and it won't stay at 48. I'll probably move back up to maybe 50 or 55 so that I can move around the draw distances for trees and the view distances and stuff like that. But it's going to allow me to get a more detailed walkthrough graphically, and kind of deal with the fact that people think that by default Skyrim is not very detailed. The other thing about that is, though, also that I have a lot of HD graphic mods installed as well, which also have an effect on performance. And so having PlayClaw will allow me to put even more of those types of mods in. What else? I think that's all really for the Skyrim walkthrough. As for why it's not going to be your average walkthrough, it's just going to be oodles and crap loads of mods. It's going to change it really crazily. I mean, pretty much everything in the game's been changed as far as how it looks. Because I put in an armor mod that remodels armor so that it's compatible with the CBBE body, which is what I'm using since I'm using a female character. So all the armor that people are wearing is different. It looks different from the vanilla armor. There's also tons of weapon mods and even a sky mod that makes the night sky actually look like a literal, like it's a dynamic galaxy texture that has blinking stars and all sorts of cool crap. But that's for that. And you've probably been seeing this in the background while I'm talking, or you've probably read a few of them. This is the other reason why. This is for the other one, other walkthrough, the Dawn of War 2 walkthrough, and why it's going to be different. I am actually making what started out as a War Gear mod, but is turning into a little bit more of a full-on mod for Dawn of War 2. To add a lot of war gear in for higher levels of gameplay. And what I mean by that is that I went in and what I originally did was I went in and I changed the amount of war gear that dropped from kills, and because of that, it also allowed me to increase my level like crazy. I'm about halfway through the Dawn of War 2 campaign. I'm already at level 20. So then I went about trying to figure out how to change the max level, because it's capped at 20. Once I found out how to do that, I made it go up to 40. And then I read that even if you set it to 40, the official war gear does not go past 20, and so while the enemy levels will keep up pace with your troops, you'll have level 20 armor and weapons and stuff, and so you get your ass handed to you by the enemies. So that's where this whole war gear thing came about, where I'm going to be making 10 types of war gear per level, per 10 levels I should say. So like for level 20 we'll have 10 war gear for everything, level 30 another 10 war gear for everything, level 40 another 10 war gear for everything. and to deal with that problem. I'm also going to be, if I can figure out how to do it, putting in, modding skills, putting in new skills that are copies of other ones, but that have different effects and stuff like that. It's really going to be an interesting mod, I think. And one of the really interesting things about it, though, is that all the descriptions are going to be based upon either the lore as it is on the Dawn of War 2 wiki, the lore as it is within my previous walkthroughs for Dawn of War, or lore-based stuff I've just imagined up in my head, but that's still grounded within the Dawn of War 2 universe. But that might not be exactly lore-friendly. Like the Sisters of Battle like the Sisters of Battle wanting to repent for killing Blood Ravens during Soulstorm, for example. They wouldn't want to do that in the official lore, official in quotation marks, but they do in mine. For example, for that example, the first weapon that I added was my test weapon here was a Blade of Glory, and for the description for that, I did this, which is: after the purification of the Carva system, in a show of unprecedented faith, Canoness Selena presented to Gabriel Angelus the storied and most holy chainsword from the Sisters of Battle's reliquary. A gift in payment for the blood she and her sisters spilled from the Blood Ravens they encountered during the conflict. Said to be blessed by the Emperor himself, this blade requires a warrior of supreme stamina to wield it. The descriptions will also be the basis or be based on what the stats for the weapon will be, or weapon or war gear will be. For example, on that one, the Blade of Glory, your Force Commander has to have a stamina, or I guess it's the Force Commander or Thaddeus that can use it, has to have a stamina rating of at least 20 to be able to use it. And they get worked into, into the description and into the stats for that particular war gear. Here are a few more just to show the level of information I'm pulling out of the Dawn of War wiki. Let's do the what was it, the shell, I think it is? Power casing. This one actually is pulled out from 2 different games. This one is. This description is. So the description reads: not much is known about how this ultramarine forged power armor came into the hands of the Blood Ravens. However, there are speculations that it was given to the chapter by the Imperial Guard after the Coronis incident at Victory Bay, as penance for Lucas Alexander's heresy. How the Imperial Guard came to possess it is unknown. How the Imperial Guard came to possess it is unknown, although the currently supported theory was that it was a gift for the defense of a stranded group of Ultramarines by Ultramarines on Lorne 5 by Cadian 412th General Ozzik Stern. And so this is tying together both the Dark Crusade and Winter Assault events from those 2 games. Another one that does that, but also pulls from the mythology of the Dawn of War universe, is Heretical Blight. The description for that one reads: this power armor has a dark history and presents a stain on the nobility of the 4th chapter. This armor originally belonged to Isidore Accius, and it was stripped from him on the wastelands of Tartarus after he was corrupted by the Chaos Lord Sindri by Gabriel Angelus. And yes, I realize there's some grammatical issues with that sentence. The description continues: against better judgment, the armor was kept as a reminder of the need for constant vigilance. However, this fact has not escaped Adeptus Mechanicus, and has only reinforced the damning theory that the Blood Ravens are the descendants of the Thousand Sons. And just to kind of put a halt on the description here, to explain things, if you don't know who the Thousand Sons are, back in the early days of the Imperium, the Emperor started up a program known as the Primarch Project, which is a project where he took his own DNA and used it to create Primarchs that would form his army so they could retake Terra and all the territory that they lost before or during the all the chaos going on as the Empire of Man fell. Not really the actual empire, but just in general, the span of the empire of humankind across the galaxy fell. And what happened was that these Primarchs were scattered around, and the Emperor went forth and made 20 new Primarchs, and gave them all legions. And these legions were the parent legions of all the different chapters that now exist in Dawn of War. The Thousand Sons was a heretical chapter that I think was either under the command of Primarch Angron, or some other Primarch, but let me go check. Got the Dawn of War 2 thing up here. Okay, now, so, Angorn was the leader of the World Eaters, so no. Thousand Sons. Do we even know who they were? Who the Primarch for them was? Let's see, history, Age of Strife, that's what it's called, in the 30th millennium. No, we don't know who it was. All the information was lost. But they were the part of the supported theory is a controversial theory, let's say, is that they're descendants of the Thousand Sons because of certain characteristical attributes of their soldiers that are similar to the Thousand Sons. But the Thousand Sons were part of the 9 legions that were corrupted by chaos, and that joined Horus in the Horus Heresy event to try and overthrow the Imperium. And the reason why that people think that, besides the fact that there are those characteristical traits, is because no other chapter besides the Blood Ravens put so much effort into destroying their heritage. Not much is known really about the early days of the Blood Ravens. All that information and who their Primarch was lost during the 200-year. I think maybe it was during the Horus Heresy. When it was all lost. And so they don't know their past, and so for a chapter that doesn't know their past to be destroying their pieces of their heritage, it makes people suspicious that there's something they don't want them to find. And there is something to that, though. But I'm playing into that whole conspiracy theory that is what's going on. But the description continues with, this armor is warped by chaos taint, but purity seals covering the armor keep it from directly corrupting the wearer. However, in exchange the armor has a negative effect on defense and health regeneration. In return, the wearer incurs extreme gains in psyker power and can generate a force field that can protect the wearer. And the attributes of the weapon, or of the armor, reflect that. You have a negative 60 armor rating. You take minus 25% to damage resistance. You do get the ability to generate the force field effect, which drains your energy in return for nullifying damage. And then you have plus 150 energy, plus 6 energy regeneration, but minus 4 health regeneration. And that's just kind of the level of detail I'm going into, pulling out of my own walkthroughs, the games, my imagination, and the wiki to put these descriptions together. So it's really going to be a kind of an immersive sort of mod even if it doesn't change the game as it is, it'll add a lot of things that will add breadth to the amount of armor and the history of that armor. There's another one that I find interesting. Fury of the Emperor. This power armor was specially made for the greatest of Space Marines. Several such units have found their way into the reliquary of the Blood Ravens over the millennia for their dedicated service to the Empire and its forces, against its foes. This armor has a low armor rating, however when attacked by melee attacks it has a high rate of dealing critical damage to the attackers. However, there's also a chance that the armor will drain psychic energy from the wearer to commence the attack. This armor also boosts ranged damage resistance. And in the stats, you have an armor rating of 20, a 15% increase to ranged damage resistance, 80% chance per hit that you will cause 120 damage to all nearby units, and a 45% chance per hit that you will drain 90 energy from the wearer. And you can still have energy drained from you without actually having it cause the damage too. That's another thing. So it's just, really integrating the description with the stats and the lore and everything else. I feel it's going to make for a very more in-depth game as far as the information within the game, not the actual. Well, there is going to be some changes to the gameplay from this, but what's more affected is the information presented to you about the Dawn of War 2 universe within the game. There already are some various special armors and stuff, special war gear that does have similar things to this, but I think they don't go far enough in how much war gear there is and how much depth they put into the descriptions. So that's what I'm doing this for. Since I have to add more armor and weapons and stuff anyway, I'll put that depth in. So that's why I think that this Dawn of War 2 walkthrough I'm going to be doing is not going to be your average everyday walkthrough for it. Those are my reasons for why I think these walkthroughs will be something a little bit more special. Those are my arguments for that case anyway. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to be working on this mod throughout the next couple of months. I may or may not have ready for when the walkthroughs start, but hopefully I will, because I'm not going to be recording anything else for Dawn of War 2 till I get it done. I do have, I think, a week or two of footage ready to go, so that gives me a little leeway there. I will be releasing this mod onto relicnews.com once I have it finished, so you'll be able to download it and use it as well. But that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have not done so yet, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to our channel. And if you have any comments or questions, leave them below in the comment section. And I'll see you next time.